I want you to close your eyes for a second. Well, unless you're driving, please don't close your eyes if you're behind the wheel.
Definitely keep them open.
Right. But if you can, visualize a scenario that I think is pretty much a universal rite of passage for anyone working in tech or operations. It's Monday morning.
Got your coffee.
You've got your coffee. You're feeling, relatively optimistic. You open your laptop, you log into your support dashboard, and bam.
The wall of red.
The wall of red, exactly. And it's not just a few emails. I mean, it is an absolute deluge, just ticket after ticket after ticket. And honestly, the worst part isn't even the volume.
It's the ambiguity.
Yes. You have, say, 500 unread messages, and you have absolutely no way of knowing which one is just like a simple password reset.
Right.
And which one is your biggest client.
Right.
The one that basically pays half the company's payroll, who's about to cancel their contract because they've been ignored for 3 days.
That paralysis is a very real, very visceral feeling. In the industry, we actually call it the noise problem.
The noise problem.
Yeah. Because when everything looks like an emergency, nothing gets treated like one. And that leads to burnout faster than almost anything else.
Exactly. You're drowning in data, but you're starving for actual insight.
Yeah.
Now, usually the corporate solution to this is pretty blunt, right? You throw bodies at it.
Hire more agents. Build a bigger call center.
Just clear the queue. But today, for our deep dive, we are looking at a case study that proves that is exactly the wrong approach. We're looking at a company that managed to slash their escalated support cases, like the absolute worst, most expensive fires, by 80%.
And just to arrest everyone's attention here, right at the top 80% is a staggering number.
This is massive.
In the world of customer operations, if you get a 10% efficiency gain, you get a bonus. If you get 80%, you will fundamentally change the physics of your business.
That is the headline for today. So we are going to look at Basware. They are a global financial software giant, and we'll look at how they partnered with an AI platform called SupportLogic to pull off this disappearing act with their problems.
But we should be clear. We aren't just here to review a piece of software. That's not the mission here.
Right.
We are here to understand a fundamental shift in how businesses listen. We're talking about moving from reactive firefighting to something called predictive sentiment analysis.
Which sounds like a bit of a mouthful.
It does, but the concept is intuitive. It's basically the difference between waiting for the fire alarm to ring versus smelling the smoke before the flame even catches. It's shifting from a defensive posture to an offensive one.
So let's set the stage with Basware, because for those listening who aren't deep in the fintech space, who are they? Understanding their business is really key to understanding why their support challenges were so heavy.
Yeah, Basware is a heavyweight, headquartered in Finland, and they essentially handle the plumbing of the global economy.
The plumbing.
Exactly.
Yes.
We're talking procure to pay, e-invoicing, accounts payable automation.
Which, sounds a little dry until you realize what happens if it breaks.
Precisely. If a streaming service goes down, you're annoyed you can't watch a show. If Basware has a glitch, global supply chains stop. Suppliers don't get paid.
Wow.
The financial visibility of a multinational corporation goes dark. They handle complex compliance and invoicing regulations across borders. So their support team isn't just dealing with, how do I log in questions?
Right. They are dealing with mission-critical financial
It's high stakes, high pressure.
And as they grew, they hit a wall. We have notes here from Arnoud Schouw. He's the VP of Customer Support at Basware. He described the situation they were in before this whole transformation, and the word he used was inundated.
He did, and the context there is crucial. It wasn't just that they had too many tickets, it was that they had lost visibility.
They were trapped in that reactive cycle we mentioned.
Exactly. Think about the mechanics of it. A customer logs an issue. The team is swamped, so it just sits there. The customer gets frustrated, sends a follow-up. Maybe that gets missed in the pile because the queue is sorted by date, not urgency.
Right, first in, first out.
Yeah. And then finally, the customer calls a VP screaming. Now it's an escalation.
And at that point, you've already lost, haven't you? Because even if you fix the technical problem right then, the relationship is damaged, the trust capital is just gone.
Completely gone. Schouw noted that by the time they recognized a problem, it required extensive resources to resolve. This is the hidden cost of support that so many companies miss.
Because an escalated ticket isn't just a ticket anymore.
Right. It involves managers, directors, maybe even engineering leads pulling off their regular work. It costs easily 10 times more to fix an escalation than a standard ticket.
So Basware is in this position. They're reactive, fighting fires. They know they have tickets, but they don't know which ones are ticking time bombs. And this is where they brought in SupportLogic.
Yeah.
Now, I want to get technical for a second, because usually when we talk about support tools, we're talking about a ticketing system, like a Zendesk or Salesforce or ServiceNow.
Right.
But SupportLogic is different. It's not replacing those, is it?
No, and this is a really key distinction for you listening to understand. SupportLogic is not a system of record. It is a system of intelligence.
Okay, let's unpack that. System of record versus system of intelligence. What does that actually mean in practice?
Well, think about what a ticketing system, your CRM, actually is. It's a database.
Okay.
It stores structured data, date created, ticket ID, customer name, category. It's basically a digital filing cabinet.
Right.
And it is fantastic at telling you what happened yesterday, but a filing cabinet can't tell you if the person who wrote the letter inside is being sarcastic or desperate or furious. It just sees text strings.
It sees the what, but not the how.
Exactly. SupportLogic sits on top of that filing cabinet.
Yeah.
It uses NLP, natural language processing, to analyze the unstructured data.
The actual conversation.
Yes, it reads the emails, the chat logs, the case notes. It analyzes the sentiment.
Now, I want to push on sentiment analysis for a second, because I feel like that term gets thrown around by every marketing department on earth right now.
Yeah.
You know, we have AI sentiment analysis.
Oh, absolutely.
Is it just looking for all caps and swear words? Because if I type, "This is great" in all caps, that's happy. But a basic tool might think I'm screaming at them.
That is the 1.0 version of sentiment analysis. What Basware leveraged here is much more sophisticated. It's not just looking for keywords, it's looking for patterns of friction and sentiment velocity.
Sentiment velocity, that sounds like a physics term.
It kind of is. It measures the direction and speed of the emotion. Is the tone getting worse over time? Like, did they start polite on Monday, get a little terse on Tuesday, and then go completely silent on Wednesday?
Oh, that silence. That's the killer.
Silence is often a louder signal than anger in B2B relationships.
Right, because they've just given up and gone to a competitor.
Exactly. SupportLogic detects these nuances. Confusion, urgency, frustration, the ghosting behavior we just talked about, and it assigns a sentiment score to the ticket, totally independent of its technical severity.
That is a massive distinction.
Yeah.
Because in a normal system, if a server isn't down, it's just a severity 4 low priority ticket.
Right.
But if the customer is the CFO of a Fortune 500 company and they're frustrated because they can't print a report, that needs to be a severity 1 immediately.
Precisely. Arnoud Schouw actually called it giving his operations team a sixth sense.
A sixth sense. I love that.
Suddenly, they weren't just looking at ticket queues sorted by date. They were looking at queues sorted by customer emotion. They could literally see a heat map of their entire backlog.
So they turn the lights on, they can see the emotional reality of their support queue. But seeing it is one thing. Doing something about it is another. How did Basware actually leverage this data operationally?
That's the real trick.
Right. Did they just give everyone a new dashboard and say, hey, good luck out there?
No, and that's why this was so successful. You can't just buy the tool, you have to change the workflow. They moved from a first in, first out model to a most urgent first out model based on that sentiment score.
Okay.
And they set up real-time alerts. If a key account sentiment dropped below a certain threshold, a manager was notified immediately before the customer even asked to speak to a manager.
That's the Minority Report moment. Stopping the crime before it happens.
It really is. Instead of waiting for the monthly report to say, oh, hey, we lost a customer 3 weeks ago, they get a ping saying this customer is at risk right now.
And they didn't just keep this data locked in the support basement, did they?
No. Schouw mentioned they bridged the silos. They connected support to the success and product teams.
So everyone sees it.
Exactly. If the AI detects that a specific product update is causing a spike in negative sentiment, the product team sees that data right away. It ensures feedback isn't just stored, it's acted upon.
So it effectively turns the support team from a complaint department into a strategic intelligence unit. That is a huge cultural shift.
And that is the big why for the listener right there. If you can turn your support data into product roadmap fuel, you win.
Okay, we teased the numbers at the top, but we need to really dig into them because they are the proof in the pudding here. We mentioned the 80% reduction in escalation rates.
80. Just think about the operational impact of that. As we discussed, an escalation is the most expensive thing a support team does. It burns out your best people. Eliminating 80% of those means you have freed up a massive amount of brain power.
It's like finding an extra day in the week for every single manager. And Schouw said this had a direct impact on operational efficiency.
Yeah.
But they also got faster, right?
They did. Time to resolution decreased by 30%.
Which makes sense. If you catch the issue when it's small, when it's just a spark, it's so much quicker to fix. If you wait until the house is burning down, it takes all day.
Exactly. But there's also a routing element here. SupportLogic has this capability, often called a routing agent, that helps eliminate manual triage.
Okay.
When you get the problem to the right person instantly and you know the sentiment is fragile, you solve it faster. You don't bounce the angry customer around to 3 different departments.
Now, here is where it gets really interesting for me, the customer health scores. Because it's one thing to fix bugs fast. It's another to actually make people love you. And they broke this down by customer segments in the data.
Yes, and this shows a very sophisticated strategy from Basware. They didn't just apply a blanket fix to everyone. They focused heavily on their VIP and strategic customers.
The big fish, the ones that keep the lights on.
Right. For their VIP customers, they saw a 93% improvement in customer health scores.
93%. That is practically perfecting the score. That's almost statistical noise. It's so high.
Is almost unheard of in this industry. And for their strategic customers, they saw a 72% improvement. This tells us that the AI helped them prioritize the relationships that mattered most.
So instead of treating every ticket as equal, they treated every relationship according to its value and its current health.
Exactly.
It effectively turns the support team from a cost center, how little can we spend to answer these phones, into a revenue protection unit.
That is the big takeaway right there. Support is usually seen as a drain on the P&L. By using this data to protect VIP relationships, Basware turns support into a growth engine. If you retain a VIP client because you anticipated their needs, that's worth millions.
I want to touch on the CSAT customer satisfaction aspect too. The average score climbed to 5.3 out of 6, but there was a quote from Schouw that stuck with me. He said, "Customers weren't just satisfied, they were impressed."
That is a subtle but incredibly powerful difference. Satisfied means you met expectations. Impressed means you exceeded them.
Right.
When a support agent reaches out to you and says, "Hey, I noticed you seemed a bit frustrated in your last note, so I've escalated this to an engineer for you right away," you are impressed. You feel seen.
It's the difference between a transactional interaction and a relationship. Like a waiter bringing you water when you ask versus a waiter refilling your glass before you even notice it's empty.
Precisely. That is the proactive shift.
Now, let's pivot to the technology side again, because the source material mentions a concept that I find really provocative.
Yeah.
CRM-less architecture, or outsmarting your CRM.
Yes.
That sounds almost heretical in tech.
Yeah.
For 20 years, businesses have been told if it's not in the CRM, it didn't happen. The CRM is the holy grail. Why are they talking about being CRM-less?
It's a bit of a marketing provocation, sure, but the philosophy is entirely sound. The argument is that the CRM is a system of record. It is a history book. It records what happened yesterday. It is static.
It's a rear-view mirror.
Exactly. And in a fast-moving digital economy, driving by looking in the rearview mirror is incredibly dangerous. CRM-less doesn't mean deleting Salesforce or dumping your database.
Right. You still need to keep records.
Right. It means not relying on it as your operational brain. You need a dynamic layer, an intelligence layer that is living in the now, analyzing real-time data streams, not just static records.
It brings up this concept of agentic AI, which is mentioned in the context of SupportLogic's tech stack. We hear agentic a lot right now. How does that apply here?
So, agentic AI refers to AI that has a degree of autonomy to pursue goals. In this context, it's about the AI acting as an agent on behalf of the support team.
So not just a chatbot.
No, not just a chatbot answering easy questions. It's an intelligent agent that is constantly scanning the backlog, routing cases to the right experts, and flagging risks without a human ever telling it to look.
It's like having a super smart assistant who reads every single email the second it comes in and just whispers in your ear, "Hey, deal with this one first."
And that leads to the human benefit of all this. We often worry that AI is going to replace support agents, but Schouw was very clear on this point. He said this made lives better for his team.
Yeah, that stood out to me, the reduction in cognitive load.
Imagine the stress of a support manager. You are constantly worried about what you're missing. You're hunting through haystacks looking for needles every single day. It is exhausting. By offloading that detection work to the AI, the humans get to stop hunting and start helping.
They stop being data entry clerks and start being problem solvers.
It returns the humanity to the job. If you aren't stressed and rushed, you can actually be empathetic. You can take the time to write a thoughtful response. The sources even mention Salesforce gaining an hour back daily from managers using similar tech.
An hour a day.
Yeah. For Basware, it means the staff isn't spending their day doing damage control. They're spending their day actually helping people.
Which brings us to the irony of this whole story.
Yeah.
We used a machine, a cold, unfeeling algorithm, to make the company more empathetic.
It is the ultimate paradox of the AI era. Basware used math to understand feelings. The AI detected the frustration better than the busy humans could, and by surfacing it, it allowed the humans to apply the empathy where it was needed most.
It suggests that empathy isn't a scaling problem we can solve with more people. It's a signal problem.
Right. Humans have plenty of empathy to give, but we have limited bandwidth to find who actually needs it. The AI solves the bandwidth problem.
So looking forward, Basware has crushed the backlog. They've improved VIP health massively. What's the next step for them?
Schouw mentioned they want to get the agents more deeply involved with a tool, utilizing case analysis possibilities.
What does that look like in practice?
Well, if you have this powerful engine that understands the history and sentiment of every case, you can start giving agents suggested responses that aren't just generic templates. You can give them intelligent summaries.
Like a briefing.
Exactly. Like, this customer is angry because of a recurring bug in the invoicing module. Here's the JIRA ticket related to that bug, and here's what we told them last time.
So the agent doesn't have to spend 20 minutes reading the whole history. They get the briefing instantly.
Right. It moves from escalation prediction to resolution acceleration. It makes every agent perform like your best agent because they have the collective intelligence of the organization right at their fingertips.
And for you listening, whether you're in support or sales or product, what is the big takeaway here? If you aren't using SupportLogic, what should you be looking at in your own data?
The takeaway is this. Stop trusting your metadata. Stop thinking that time to close or ticket volume tells you the health of your business. Those are vanity metrics. You need to find a way to listen to the unstructured conversation.
The voice of the customer is hidden in the text, not the checkboxes.
Precisely. If you are a global enterprise and you are still manually categorizing tickets to guess how your customers feel, you are competitively disadvantaged. You are playing checkers while Basware is playing 3D chess.
Or, to use your earlier analogy, you're waiting for the fire alarm while your competitor is installing heat sensors.
And in this economy, by the time the alarm rings, the customer is already gone.
That 93% improvement in VIP health is the number I just can't get out of my head. That is money in the bank.
It is. It's the difference between being a vendor and being a partner.
So we've covered the nightmare of the backlog, the shift to proactive AI, and the counterintuitive idea that machines can actually help us be more human.
A fascinating case study in modern operations.
I want to leave you, the listener, with a final provocative thought, building on what we just discussed regarding empathy. We often fear that AI will make business colder and more robotic.
Sure, that's the common fear.
But Basware proves the opposite. If an algorithm can tell you, hey, be kind to this person today, they're having a really hard time, and that nudge actually works. Do we care that the empathy was prompted by a machine?
It's a profound question. Does the origin of the insight matter, or just the outcome? If the AI prompts the human connection, is that connection any less real? I would argue it makes the connection possible in the first place.
It clears the debris so the human connection can actually happen.
Exactly. The AI handles the what so the human can handle the how.
Well, on that philosophical note, I encourage you to go look at your own support dashboard. Is it a wall of red, or do you have a sixth sense? Thanks for doing a deep dive with us into the world of Basware and SupportLogic.
Keep listening and keep innovating.